Hello, hello, and welcome to finally Winning Women's Wednesday with my amazing co-host, Miss Ashley Gentry.
Hello.
I have missed you so much. Oh my gosh. I feel like it's been weeks. And
we
really,
still see each other.
I know,
it's just not doing this.
Not doing this, which is my favorite thing. And over there in the corner, because he couldn't be on the show today, is Rick. Hi, Rick.
Bonjour.
Oh my goodness. We've had so many things going on.
So many things and so much to talk about.
So much to talk about. Let's talk about something really that I think we can both commiserate. We've been a little grumpy.
We have been a little grumpy.
I know.
Yeah.
I think market's fun.
Market's fun.
Q4 is on fire as far as like we gotta finish strong and see what we can do.
Absolutely.
On top of the fact that finding our own motivation and then we're supposed to motivate all these people around us.
Absolutely. And I know for me, and I posted this last night, like I finally had to take my own advice and go for a walk in nature.
Oh.
So I got chased by some city ducks in Turtle Creek. Y'all, those ducks were mean. I don't know if you
Ducks
saw.
are mean.
Like I thought I would like walk into the grass and like I'm filming and I'm like, there's going to be the pond and I'm having this little social media moment. No, they just like quacked back at me and scared me a little bit. So
that's hysterical.
Yeah, it wasn't. I was sad. I had this whole like social media vision that was going to be so great. It wasn't, but I posted it anyway. So yeah,
Womp womp.
But I had to take my own advice because I was so grumpy.
I played pickleball twice yesterday.
Dang.
I don't know that it still worked, but
right.
It was good. You know what was really great though? And this is what I keep on talking about. I've got a new client, and in fact, you're gonna come go showing with me. For
we're going on a showing together, guys.
We're just gonna go on a field trip because then we're gonna hang out afterwards. I'm like, why not? But I'm sitting there, and I knew my client said, hey, I go to Pickleball Kingdom too. And I was like, oh, great, blah, blah, blah. So I'm in the parking lot at like 8 o'clock last night. And he comes out and he's like, Ashley. And I'm like, oh, he was at open play at the same time
That's
I was
awesome.
on the other side. And then I was with another realtor friend who plays. And he lives in the neighborhood that they really love. So it was like this really cool moment that it all came together.
Yes. And okay, that is organic community.
It is organic community.
It's organic community, which is how you build your business. It's how you grow your database.
Yeah.
And it's why realtors, lenders, title people, all of you, we can't just be sitting in our holes and not growing in some sort of community. So whether it's a coaching community or a hobby community, you've got to be out there.
Well, and I think that's what they talked about, you know, when you're talking about people feeling depressed and we're the most anxiety-ridden generation, you know, right now. We've got multiple generations in the room, but as a whole, as a society, we're an anxiety-riddled, you know, society. And different people will sit there and say different things about that. But you know what the number one thing is lack of community. And because we're working so much more than we did 20 and 30 years ago, and part of that is because we're more accessible.
Yes.
So there's no true time off or unplugging or anything else. So the work is following you everywhere you go, whether you work in a traditional office setting or you're an entrepreneur. And then you turn around, and so you don't have time. It used to be bowling league and poker night and church, and I love how I put those all together: poker league and then church, you know, or the community baseball or whatever else. Now they're trying to find those community elements in their places of work,
right?
And that's not sufficing. You can't find the people that you want to do respite with and have fun all the time in your job environment,
Absolutely.
and still perform, you know, to where you need to, and so. I thought that was just really interesting. And as you sat there and said organic community, that's where, because people are looking for it. And so for me and for you, there's no stepping out of real estate necessarily. Like even you went to a walk with nature and you were going to have this beautiful social media reflection moment and show, and then the ducks came after you.
Dang ducks.
But that was still you trying to document a journey and a process for yourself,
right?
Which was obviously encouraging other people and talking about coaching and motivation. And that's the same thing for me. I'm not that person at a restaurant that's like, oh, somebody said real estate, I'm gonna go run over and give my card. But I'm gonna naturally sit there and play pickleball, and then people see you more. They ask what you do. And Ashley, how are you here 14 times a day? What do you do for a living?
Why don't you have a job?
Why don't you have a job? And then I get to talk about what I do. And, you know, and it evolves into different conversations because everybody still wants to talk about real estate. And so I get to do something that I'm passionate about, that gives me respite, that gives me energy, and I still get to be in my business. That's a win-win.
Absolutely. I always said when I first got into real estate, Alan worked at Starbucks at the time.
Oh, okay.
And I hated the holidays because every time we went somewhere, everyone wanted to talk about Starbucks or real estate. I was like, I don't want to talk about that on Christmas morning. But inevitably, that's what it was, because people are just fascinated. Starbucks was relatively new in our area at that time.
All right.
So everyone wanted to talk about Starbucks and Howard Schultz and the process and all the things.
Yeah.
And then when we were done with that, it was real estate. So yeah. Now, in the current economy, I wish more people would talk to me about real estate.
No, they want to complain about real estate.
Yes, they do. They want to complain.
That's I was just listening to a Patrick Bet-David clip of his podcast, and they were talking about just the housing and everything else, and it was very anecdotal. They were using data points, but then creating this anecdotal framework around it. And I thought that was really great, because it's not people wanting to talk about buying and selling homes. They want to talk about what's happening in the market.
Absolutely.
What's happening? Am I going to appreciate? What's going on with insurance? What's going on with taxes? Why is everything so expensive? Oh my gosh, I can't do this. I can't do that. And so it is. And so giving somebody a better level of understanding of why everything is. Now, it's really sad, anecdotally, but did you know in 2020 that the average person needed to make somewhere around, I think they said like $58,000 to buy a house, an average home in America.
Wow.
Okay. 2024, guess what it is now?
It's got to be triple that.
It's 120,000.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. And that's sad, because most people have not increased their income by that much in 4 years.
Correct. And
or
so,
even more than the 58,000, to be honest.
Correct. So you sit there and you're 65% more, or whatever that is. Math's gonna math right now. And then you turn around, and so you understand that, and you understand why people have fear, and then the turnover rate. So trading up and trading down, which there was even a show called like Trading Spaces and all these other things.
Right, that's right.
Okay,
yes.
not the Trading Space one, but it was people showing the progression of the first time home buyer buying their first house, then moving up to the middle tier, and then that.
Yes,
that's not happening anymore.
They can't afford it.
It's the lowest amount of turnover in the market in 30 years.
Wow, that's incredible.
Isn't it incredible? And so it's when you start to actually talk about that, and I think the average life cycle of somebody being in their home used to be about 7 years.
Yeah.
Now it's 15.
That's way too long, people.
Wait, you know what?
You gotta move.
My favorite is that they stay in the house 15 years and do all the deferred maintenance, their heart desires, which means they do nothing. And then they still want to come right now and want to sell their house at the top of the market because Ashley, my neighbor, just did the same thing. And so that, do not get offended, but that is boomer economics.
It is. Because your neighbor's house is 1,500 square feet bigger, has a pool, and they did a remodel last year. So proximity does not affect your value.
Or I'm just trying to have education. I mean, I told you I was a few minutes late. I'm so sorry this morning. But I was telling you I was talking to an appraiser, and I wasn't being ugly with him, but he called me, and he was basically like, well, Ashley, I'm so confused. And I said, well, what are you confused with, Jack? The house is worth more than you're selling it for.
Yes, they are.
Thank you for that kick in the mouth, Jack. and I said, it's buyer sentiment. And ultimately, the house on paper might be worth more money, but it doesn't matter if a buyer can't buy it or doesn't want to buy it.
Right.
And so he needed me to create a narrative for his closing statement for his appraisal, so the bank didn't kick it back because it was valued so much higher than the contract price.
So good for the buyer.
Great for the buyer. But guess what? My seller's house was paid off. She's downsizing. She's doing all these other things. She's still coming out ahead. But
and how much did the seller pay for the home versus what they're selling it for now?
$300,000 probably.
Yeah.
So, and she's selling it for almost $700,000.
Not a bad return.
It's not a bad return. But those are also conversations that you're having to have with sellers. I get it. You still want to sell at the top of the market, but then the natural avatar of that buyer that's coming now has to make 2.5 times what they made just 4 years ago to afford your house.
Which isn't happening.
It's not happening.
No.
Which is probably why everybody needs motivation and accountability, because we need
support.
Support because we really need to figure out how to increase our earning potential.
For sure.
And that's something I know we've been really talking about in Q4, but it's been a little hard to stay positive.
It has. But here's something positive.
Okay, what?
You are at Inman tomorrow. It is sold out. Are you so nervous and excited right now?
I am. And so I'm closing out Inman, which is, I know, Mike. So it's either good or bad. Everybody's either going to be gone or they're going to be waiting for the bar, and they're going to be real captive.
That's exciting.
So, but
I've seen you pour champagne, so.
I do that well. Maybe I'll bring alcohol and throw it out in a t-shirt cannon. But my topic is what's next.
Love that. Love that.
So, we'll see where the wind blows us in that conversation on stage tomorrow.
For you.
I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Because we'll just have to see how the day goes.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you, everyone who came to our conference, the Women Who Win conference. It was amazing. We hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did.
We had a blast. We learned a lot.
Yes. So stay tuned for the next one. But we learned a lot.
But you know what? I've had so many people come up to me since then and have just said it was just an amazing day, and it's what their hearts needed and their spirits and everything else. And so while we learned more about run of show and expectations and what we can do to lighten our load so we can be much more present.
Yes.
Because I think that's the biggest thing, is being able to pour into people in those moments. We were a little dead afterwards. I think both of us look like we were just like, I'm out. I'm done.
It was so fun.
I did have a whole sandwich platter that I got to take home though, which was
so much cheese.
It was so much cheese. It was amazing though. So I'd take a picture of my husband and send it to him. I said, I've got dinner, and he was like, fat kid happy.
Yeah. The families always love the leftovers.
Oh, they do. My husband loves it. No qualms. He doesn't care if it's somebody else's leftovers as long as I bring it home. Well, what was really cute. So my husband, we were watching, I think some sports game was on, and he stayed up a little later and ate probably 32 little sandwich slices.
Peanut butter and jelly.
Then the next day he's like, there's still like a half a platter.
There was no way y'all were going to finish that. What am I going to do?
So there's two younger, larger frame, like 20-year-old boys that live behind us. And they were out doing yard work. So he went over there and he was like, y'all want a sandwich platter? They're like, yes, sir, we want a sandwich platter. So that really motivated them to keep doing their yard work. And that's
excellent.
So
that's what we're here for.
It kept on going is what I'm saying, even after the workshop.
Sandwich platter.
But you did great on the food. And ultimately, I know everybody is feeling like they need a little bit more of that injection and that motivation and community. And that was a day of community where everybody got to network together.
It was so good. Yeah. And the collaborative is starting next week with our first session. Yay. So if you haven't registered yet, there is still time. But I'm so excited for it. We've got a great group already signed up, and we're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be a great community.
Now, what is the collaborative?
The collaborative is the monthly membership group coaching.
Okay.
So it's group coaching, 1 hour online a month. We're going to be diving into building your business for the fourth quarter.
Okay.
But then there's also going to be in-person meetups once a month.
How
so
fun.
You come to what you can come to.
That's great.
So it's going to be great. Yeah. And
so if
easy membership.
Well, that's what I was about to say. So if they're having trouble with finding a unique community, this is one that's already there for them with the same, thought process.
Women's coaching.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about some life issues and things like that and how it incorporates into our entrepreneurial journey. We're going to build our business, and we're going to live a life we love, and we're going to have community and food and some fun. Not on the Zoom. I mean, you can eat on the Zoom if you want. I don't care.
Please don't eat on the Zoom. I hate when people sit there in like the box or whatever. Or I do this. Like if you have to have a snack and you cover your face.
Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be a great time.
Yay.
And then let's see, before that was Broker Boardroom.
That was so cool. What a different environment, all of these things that you're doing. That was in like this weird shag carpet pit in the middle.
That was interesting. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you, Wayne, for that. I will say he also did not know it was going to be in that room. We just knew that it was going to be in this amazing building in Tribeca.
Yeah.
And in fact, it was an amazing building. Sure. And then I came around the corner and went into the shag carpet room. And and Wayne was still in shock too. Because he had just
the picture, and you're like, "This is the room," and I'm like, "Is this the sex dungeon?"
It really did. It was very interesting. And when they kept saying it's going to be an intimate environment, that had a whole new meaning. Yeah. It was great. I learned so much. I mean, I had a great time speaking with everyone, but I also learned a lot because it was a prelude to the 30 Under 30.
Yep.
So it was a room full of powerful producers.
That's awesome.
And once again, the economy it wasn't global, it was national in that room, all the way from Seattle to New York. And the gist of it, between men and women, is that agents are tired. We're tired. And I don't know that there's going to be... Do you hear that?
I hear nothing.
Okay. I don't know that there's going to be any relief in sight for a while, which is why having a community of people that you can rely on is so important.
Let's just be honest. The relief is we have to figure out a new way to approach the business portion of real estate.
Yeah.
And that is where it's at, because continuing to do the same thing that we've done for the last 20 years, it's not the new era of how you be a successful business owner, entrepreneur, practitioner in this space. And I think that's what people have to understand. We're not philanthropists, even though they want us to have a heart for what we do and a passion for what we do. And I believe in that 100%. But people still have to have successful businesses and business models within these communities. And so I think we just haven't done a good job of growing with the marketplace. And so we're on this little hamster wheel of trying to continue to get paid the same way and articulate our value the same way and still burn it at both ends. And it's just not.
No, you're not exactly successful. Right. Like we as realtors are stepping into, at least the ones who want to be successful and be alive, are stepping into a new level of professionalism. That's unlike anything our community has had to do before.
Well, and it's professionalism on multiple fronts. It's professionalism with cooperating with our colleagues, but it's also realizing you are a business owner.
Absolutely.
And I think for so long, people really discounted the fact that you are an entrepreneur and a marketer first.
Yeah.
Which is a business owner that just happens to do real estate.
Exactly.
And so now I think that's really becoming in the forefront, which is why all these business tools, the accountability, the coaching, the communal coaching, all of these things are so important, because we are full-fledged business owners that need to have to relearn how we're going to be successful in this environment.
And I feel like the community as a whole has not recognized us as such before.
Correct.
So it's not only we as realtors, but also the communities that we serve. And so that is a struggle, because we're having to prove it to ourselves and to our clients.
Sure.
So it's kind of a double whammy all at once.
Yeah, and there's ways and there's tools and there's resources out there. And I think a lot of people are, there's not a unique approach to, I think, motivation and coaching and accountability. It's just finding what's going to work.
Finding your group.
Correct. And what you're going to stick with.
For sure.
And so I think that's where you have to just be really introspective to know, I can't do this alone. And the greats don't. The people that are super successful have mentors that are more successful than they are. And we're an industry that often wants to sit there and go, well, I'm not going to talk to them because they're my competitor.
We're competing. But we don't have to compete.
No, we don't have to compete. And honestly, that's where you're going to learn. And I'm sorry, but if I'm at max capacity, then who else is going to sit there and kick my butt and take me to the next level?
Absolutely.
When I'm full. And I'm full right now.
Oh, so full. So full. Oh, my goodness.
But that's why we have to do this stuff.
Yeah.
Because you might be full and I might be full, but I will absolutely try to do what I can for you and vice versa.
Yeah.
And so we have to continue to create that collaboration in our personal relationships, our professional relationships, and get our butts out there.
Yes. So all the things that we've done over the last few weeks, what has been your biggest takeaway?
That I'm in the driver's seat.
Good, yeah.
Honestly, I mean, there was the quote that I shared, or the statement.
So good, I loved that.
And it was basically, this is the last year that you're going to allow yourself to deserve less than you should have. And so that's ultimately is taking back control and ownership and saying, I'm living the life, because
I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Because Charmaine Byers did quote you at the Women's Council
What'd
conference.
She say?
She said your quote.
She did.
And she credited you. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was awesome. I was so proud to see her. And then when she quoted you, I was like, oh, my people.
Well, but you know what? And Nikki Watson did the same thing, because it resonated with so many of us that have already had a lot of success, because ultimately it was that getting that mind a little unstuck. And when I saw it, it's like, this is the last year you're going to live the life that you have, because you deserve more.
Yes.
And when you understand that, we do it to ourselves.
Absolutely.
We absolutely do it to ourselves. And so I think that's where I just have to continue to put it out there and create my environment. That was the other thing, that while I was trying to get my talk up to snuff and everything else, was really being cognizant about my battery levels and the energy and the circles that I'm surrounding myself with. And I'm very grateful for the season that I'm in at this moment. But I think it's just continuing on and leveling up, and doing that. And so it's, the workshop was great, because I just got to see so many women that were inspired by so many different things. And I want to do more of that.
Yeah. Well, according to Rick, we are doing more of that.
Okay, good.
Yes, we will be doing more of that. Probably, Rick says sooner than I think I might be ready for, but I am excited. And I will say that the way he gushed over us like a proud papa just made me so happy the next day. He was so sweet.
Well, I think that's where it's at is, be around people that are wanting to celebrate your success,
Absolutely.
not to bring you back down into that crab bucket. And so just continue to choose the people you're around wisely, because it is so powerful. And that's what I want to do going into Q4 is just, this is preparation season for me to be even more prepared in 2025 and what that looks like. So I think we're going to have something, a banger coming out in Q1. And get people really excited
it's gonna be
for
fun.
that. It is going to be fun.
Hey, thanks for being here. And if you need to sign up for the collaborative, you can just go to michelleozimi.com and we